Right at the outset, let's consider why you should invest the next 10 minutes or so of your time going through this video. Three key upsides up front are, firstly, we look at making the business investor ready. This provides huge financial and strategic benefits, but probably more importantly, provides the prospect of major lifestyle wins for you, the business owner, because core to this whole strategy or concept is to get you out of the business so that you're not working in but on the business as a platform to develop your life, and for that for yourself and for your family out in the community. Second area is a sales piece that pretty much every business out there does badly or misses completely. Do this area right and you have a major payoff of multiplying the benefit of all the other area you do in the sales area. We also review several components of the business where improvement can yield major upside to the business and also ensure your ongoing competitiveness within the tight marketplace. So spending the next 10 minutes with me will give you at least some thought-provoking aspects to review and consider, or hopefully with some real resonance to your situation and fit to where you are at the moment, maybe we can take some action together and capture some of the upside that's on offer. Just as an introduction of ourselves, I'm with the Alchemy Network, and Alchemy is all about transformation, lead into gold, about business transformations from being just about a daily grind of making money to being a platform to transform your life, that of your family and out into the community. These are, big concept, big philosophical issues, but they provide the why as to the bigger picture why as to why we're doing these things are worth raising. Because if we share such a view and an aspiration for why we're doing all this stuff, it makes working together very congruent and therefore much more aligned and potentially effective. Come back to this towards the end of the presentation. We're going to talk about two core aspects of the business. There's the front-end sales element, and then there's the back-end delivery side of things. And breaking them up like this makes sense because typically, whilst the real payoff is fixing the back end, the front end provides the lifeblood, and that's where we focus first. We break that down into three main areas. There's the lead generation, sales, promotion side of things. There's the strategies we use to convert that interest into buying decisions and forming ongoing commercial relationships. And then there's the relationship management that hangs off the back of the front-end lead management and is involved in all of these things. The interesting thing about this back end of the front end, if you like, is that it's where the biggest payoff on the front end of the business, the sales side of the business is. But most businesses do this not at all or very badly. And again, once we look at what the payoff is there, it's absolutely compelling that you get this right. And this is typically the area where we commence our relationship and our work with our clients, because it's where, as I say, you can get some very good, very quick and very clear examples of how getting things right pays off in a big way. Let's dimension that a little bit, and let's say we've put campaigns together to generate a good quality of 100 new leads or referrals a month into the business. And our conversion is going pretty well. We convert 1 out of 3 good leads, and about 1 out of 2 leads are good. It's defined as people that are of a time and place and a mindset that they're ready to make a buying decision. So in this equation here, we're doing a pretty good job because we're generating 100, and out of that's dropping 20 new business relationships per month. And that's a pretty nice set of numbers there. But the question you've got to ask is, what about the other 80, or in fact the whole 100? How are we going to manage the sales funnel and the relationship with those prospects? And it's really critical that we do that, because if we do that properly, it's entirely reasonable to expect that over, say, the next 6 months, we can achieve yet another 20-odd sales. Because the people that are in that 80 to 100 names have all indicated a level of interest. It's just that they need to be communicated with and some trust built, what have you, to convert that. Now you can see straight away it's jumping out that the relationship management is a major part of this. And also, if you look at that, there's 80 to 100 names per month. So over the course of a year, that's 1,000 people that will be in our funnel, in our community, with whom we can relate and with whom we can develop business. And it's not too much more than that you need to have actually a critical mass that can basically drive the business on an ongoing basis. So what this does to further dimension it, if we say, well, if we look at what the 5-year lifetime value of any customer is, with repeat sales, upsells, and that sort of thing, if it's $1,000, then this lead generation process, conversion process, is generating 20,000 of incremental value per month, and a further 20,000 over the next 6 months. So there's big stakes in this scenario on the table, and so the payoff is there to getting it right. It also says it's worth spending some money to make this happen. That comes back to the advertising and promotion budget, because with 20,000 and in month 1 and 40 over 6 months on the table, it's worth investing to get that sort of level of return. Looking at the back end of the business now, this is where we're talking about delivery of the product, the operations, the processing, administration, and this is really the core of the business. And when people think about business, this is the sort of thing that tends to be what comes to mind more clearly. And indeed, it is, you can't have one without the other. We're just breaking this up for convenience to look at the two aspects of the business. But essentially, when we're talking about the fulfillment or the back end of the business, the key issue here is systemization. The aspect involved here is to get the business owner out of the business, stop working in the business and work on the business. And this is very much driven by thinking of people like Michael Gerber in the E-Myth, you might have heard of that, and also bowing down at the altar of McDonald's, which after all is a billion-dollar enterprise run by part-time school kids, all based on having everything systemized and tight. So this is really what the back-end focus is, and it's where a huge payoff comes. And of course, getting both sides working effectively, the front end provides the lifeblood, provides the cash flow, which gives time and resources to get the back end. So now turning briefly to what Alchemy can bring to the party with respect to all these issues. The first couple of points are absolutely strategic in terms of how the company positions itself. Defining the unique sales proposition of the business relative to the market is a confronting thing, hard to do, probably to get perfectly. But the process of going through and determining what is uniquely special about what you're offering to the market is of itself a very positive thing to do. Then also the structuring of deals. The trend lately has been to have very low front-end offers so that you engage new customers on the best possible terms and then have a natural upsell. So that strategic process is the first step. Then the next big question you have to think about as part of this process is, why should anyone buy from us compared to all other options, including doing nothing? Again, that's a question that it's hard to sometimes come up with a straightforward, compelling answer to that question, but the closer you get to a compelling answer to that, the better off you are. And these two elements can be the start of an ongoing refinement of the business to get better and better answers to these two questions. So looking at the Alchemy strategies on the lead generation promotional side, fully reviewing the traditional strategies such as direct mail, advertising and what have you, to make sure that they fit as appropriate. And then the big trend of obviously recently is towards the web online activity, and then of course that's made up of a number of components. The free side of things may not be that free, given that website search engine optimization, SEO, it's a sort of 6-month project, and so you have to factor in the opportunity costs of that timeline, but it certainly has to be looked at and done properly, the web right, and get it nicely optimized. On the pay-per-click commercial strategies, this is just paid advertising across the web. The advantage of that, of course, is that you're then using the power of Google and others in your direction because you're paying them, and they can, some very powerful, good return on investment strategies are available there. Mobile's an absolute huge trend at the moment, and you've got to make sure you've got an optimized strategy for that. And then also, think about all channels. This is really thinking about the social media cluster, Facebook and others, LinkedIn, what have you, and just make sure that your strategies take into account how they might be leveraged as well. But the general thing is you can't let this become all about technology, because if you look at a lot of websites, it seems apparent that some technologist and not a business person has actually pulled the whole thing together. It might be pretty, it might be savvy and all the rest of it, but is it part of a commercial strategy? The second thing is that in this whole area, nothing is static. It's subject to continual review, testing, tweaking, fine-tuning, and that's really as a package what the main aspect of everything that we're talking about here is that we're getting better over time. And on the back end, there's two elements, the relationship, customer relationship funnel management that we look at. We have two programs, we give them names. One's called Backend Blueprint. That's a strategy and approach combined with technology for running the relationship management in a very structured, effective way. And also we have a little program, which is typically the first thing we do with new customers, is called, a client is called Sales CPR. It's basically trying to get out and into a usable form the data you've already got in the business on your existing and past customers, and putting that into a database, then putting a structured program of offers to those people to re-engage with past customers and to bring them to life. The conversion level, this is where we do a lot of testing. We measure everything. We split test. We run all the promotions we do them in split tests, so that ad A versus ad B, or strategy A versus strategy B, and then we're forever promoting the winner and swapping for another alternative for loser, so that we're continually improving the results that we're getting. Particularly in the online space, lots and lots of tools are available to us to get this and do this well. At the back end level, we have a structured plan which we call Nova, and this is about a 6-month project that with the owner to get himself and the business up to a stage where we get the business owner out of the business and working on the business. And the whole thing is pulling it all together now, is to make the business investor ready, and this is where the big payoff is. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to sell the business, but you can if you want to. But it also makes it ready for all sorts of options, things like franchising, listing, bringing in other capital partners, doing joint ventures in a very structured and very well understood way. So really that's really the big picture. And so when we're talking about wanting to talk to you as a business owner, it's because we see impressive things in your current advertising and what we know about you, and we just wonder whether some of the concepts we're talking about with you could actually pay off in a big way. And that leads to next steps. The ball's in your court on this, but if any of these concepts resonate with you as being worthy of consideration and drilling down upon, then probably should have an initial discussion, maybe just on the phone. And if that sort of confirms your feeling and answers any questions you've got arising out of this, then probably what we would suggest would be an initial 1-hour meeting. And the two elements in that meeting would be a business audit. It won't be our complete audit. We always do a complete audit, but what I would do out of our discussion is give you a bunch of questions to think about as an agenda for that audit. Let's get stuff on the table so we both know what we've got to work with and what the best next step would be, but possibly what the first best step would be, this sales CPR program that we're doing. Now, in that meeting, I'm not coming to sell you that program at all. I'll be coming to describe it to you, and then subsequently to that initial meeting, I'd get back to you with a written suggestion along those lines. So that's it. Basically, as I say, if any of these concepts resonate and seem to be a good fit for where you're at, then please don't hesitate to give me a call there on the number, or probably even better, if you just drop me an email with a suggested time and place. With a bit of luck, I can fit in with that, and I'll just confirm it, and we'll get together. Thank you for your time. I hope you found this of some interest, and I look forward to having a talk.